Hello my fellow vegan bakers. Today I'm going to show you how I make bread. This bread dough can either be put in a loaf tin and cooked as a traditional loaf, but today I'm going to make it into 8 bread rolls. First of all, you take a bowl which has been really nicely warmed, so it's nice and warm, and you put 240 ml of warm water into your warm bowl. Now you stick your finger in, and if it's blood temperature, if it's the right temperature, then that's fine. If it's too hot, that'll kill the yeast off, and if it's too cold, it'll take a long time for the yeast to grow. So add that to your bowl, and then the next thing you add is 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now you can add any sort of sugar really, but I prefer white sugar because it's not so heavy. So I'm just going to stir that in. And then the next thing I add is 1 teaspoon of salt. And that stops the yeast from going too mad. And then 2 tablespoons of oil. Now the oil I use olive oil. It gives it, of course it's vegan, and it gives it a nice crust. And then stir that in. So we've got our water, our sugar, our salt, our oil, and then we put in some bread flour. Now the bread flour we use, we buy it by the sack because we make a lot of stuff ourselves, and it's 2 parts white flour to 1 part wholemeal flour. So if it was 100% wholemeal flour, it'd be very dense, which can be quite nice. And if it was 100% white flour, it'd be really, really fluffy. So we get a balance, and then that's good for getting nutrients, and also it's not too dense and it's still a bit fluffy. So 3 generous cups of the flour. So on the bottom you've got all the fluid, then we've added the flour, and then on top of that we have 1 teaspoon of dried yeast. And then stir that in. Make sure you've got clean hands. And then once it's stirred in, you have your dough. Get some flour, put some flour on your table, and get all your dough together and tip it out on your table. So you've got your dough, and then you mix it all together. There'll be little bits that come away, but mix it all together. And then knead it. Now it's not difficult to knead your bread. It takes time. It takes about 10 minutes to knead your bread. And what you do is you get the heel of your hand here, you push it into your dough, you push the dough away from you, and then you fold it towards you, and then you turn the dough a quarter turn. So you do heel, fold, quarter turn, heel, fold, quarter turn, heel, fold, quarter turn. And you do that for 10 minutes until when you come to stretch it, it doesn't come apart. If I pulled this now, very easily it would come apart. Once you've kneaded it and got it into a nice stretchy piece of dough, you then put it into a bowl, cover it with a tea towel, and leave it for about 4 hours. What I do is I make it last thing at night, and I leave it covered with a tea towel over the top all night so that it's proved. And here's one I've done earlier. This is one that I did last night, and this has proved, and it's about double the size. So here you can see it as a comparison. This is the one that's not kneaded and not proved. Quite heavy, quite dense, easily broken. This one, I just need to put some more flour on the table. This one, very stretchy, very fluffy, not easily broken. In fact, you could stretch this quite a long way. So I'm very pleased with that. So what I'm going to do with this dough, this one still has to be kneaded for 10 minutes to get it stretchy. And then I'm going to put it back in its bowl with a clean tea towel on top and leave it for at least 4 hours so that it doubles in size. So let me just show you a bit closer, the difference. That's the unkneaded, unproved. That's the kneaded, proved. You can see it's a lot smoother and, as you saw just now, a lot stretchier. So with this one, I'm going to put it on a tray ready to go in the oven. So here's my tray. I'm using a reusable silicone liner so that I don't waste paper. And then I'm going to divide this by 8. So I literally go break it in half. Then I break it in half again. So then I've got 4 lumps. And then I break it in half again so that I've got 8 lumps. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I roll it and put it on the tin. There we go. So I do that with all the rolls, put them on the tin, and then I cover that again with a clean tea towel and I leave it for about 4 hours. So my normal routine is I make the first lump of bread at night. First thing in the morning, I roll my bread, divide it by 8 and roll it and put it on my baking tray. And then I let it prove with a tea towel over the top so that by lunchtime, it is double the size again. So let me show you one I've prepared earlier. So this morning, I rolled these up and you can see that they have doubled in size and they are ready to go in the oven. I'm going to put these in the oven now for 15 minutes at 180 degrees centigrade for a fan oven. And after about 15 to 20 minutes, they will be cooked. So I'm going to go off and do that and I'll be back later. So here they are, straight out of the oven, freshly baked bread rolls. You can always tell if they're cooked by tipping them upside down and knocking them on the bottom. If they sound hollow, they're cooked. So there's only one thing left for me to do, and that is eat some. There they are, freshly baked bread rolls, and I've put some Vitalite margarine on top. Absolutely delicious. I hope you enjoy making them as much as I do.